The Detroit Lions. A lot of questions, right? They were the number one seed in the NFC. Yes, they were. We're just going to go for it. Why would I look up whether or not I'm right? Again, like, subscribe, write in the comments how wrong you are, Alex. Lions, they were pretty good last year. They do this despite leading the league with injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So let's look back to last year before we move into this year. Last season, this team won 14 games and nobody had more injuries on both sides of the ball. On the defensive side, it started with Aiden Hutchinson. It started with key critical players, and yet this team kept chugging along. Is this an identity thing? Is this are we crediting Dan Campbell? Is this depth? Are we crediting the front office, led by Brad Holmes as the general manager? Or is this just sort of next man up? Like the players understood the assignment. So look, they can't lead the league in injuries 2 years in a row. So are the Lions better simply because they'll be healthier coming into this year?
And I mean, when you talk about a team that was snake bitten, the Lions definitely were. But here's where I see that con can turn into a pro. There are a lot of young players and veteran players who didn't really get a lot of playing time, typically leading up to this point. Those individuals played a lot. They contributed a lot. They were part of that 14-3 run by Dan Campbell and these same Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
But the idea is applying that for Detroit muscle type of attitude, that blue collar type of attitude, because sometimes you just got to go in a game and beat someone's ass, right? And that's kind of what the Lions were last year. And they were kind of the belle of the ball. And I understand why. When you think about Jared Goff, when you think about Jeff Fisher, you think about Sean McVay, those two coaches kind of kicked him off and said, well, you know what? He's a has-been. You go ahead and take him, Detroit Lions. And Ben Johnson said, you know what? Let me polish you up. Let me shine you and take the rust off. And also let me show you a creative offense and allow you to throw to different guys. And oh, by the way, you have Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery as your running back. Not too bad of a running back tandem to have. But I have my questions about the Detroit Lions this year. Because as creative as Jared Goff was, it was Ben Johnson calling those plays. He's no longer there. So I feel the Lions are going to take somewhat of a slight step back this season.
I see all the changes at the coaching staff. And if you haven't, go back to our NFC East preview, the first one we did for the 2025 season. You didn't see much of an issue with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, because the Lions are replacing two coordinators and some of their assistants underneath, there's a lot of turnover and a lot of next man up, right? They experienced it on the defensive side of the football last year. Now they're doing it on the coaching staff coming into this year.